Christmas break last year, I reached out to a few firms. I was going to visit my wife's family in Houston, and I'm looking to recruit in Texas. And so um, I reached out to a couple firms that were down there that I was interested in. One was Sidley Austin, and the other one was Kirkland Ellis. So I reached out to the recruiters and just said, "Hey, I'm going to be in town during Christmas break, and I'd love to be looped into any events that you have going on." Both of those recruiters emailed back and invited me to some holiday receptions that they have. They do it usually with schools that they recruit with, and it's just a bunch of students coming in and meeting the professionals and mingling with them, and all the professionals are taking mental notes of which conversations they enjoyed and which ones they didn't. So I was able to go to both of those. It helped me establish some connections at the firms, kind of get FaceTime with some of the attorneys and the partners. Also just helped me dip my feet into the recruiting pool a little bit. They're really willing to invite students. They're really willing to have any students come that are interested. Just since BYU is not always on their recruiting list, especially if you're outside of Utah, reaching out to the recruiters then opens that door and gets you on their emailing list to invite you to these types of things. I just looked up the recruiting information online. Some of the firms will have specific office recruiters on their websites. Some of them you can find through the NALP directory. I emailed them and just introduced myself as a BYU student that was interested in working at their firm in the future. So as a result of those holiday receptions that I went to, I'm still recruiting with them. I actually did interview with Kirkland and Ellis in this fall, and I think that kind of being on their radar and just having connected with multiple people at the firm did help me with that process and getting an interview. I advise for any students wondering whether they should be reaching out or doing recruiting over their holiday break is definitely do it. The truth of it is BYU is not on recruiting lists for a lot of big firms outside of Utah, but that doesn't mean they're not willing to recruit BYU students. And so taking that step to reach out to recruiters is definitely worth it, because getting on their radar and the more your name comes across their computer screen, the more likely it is that when your resume gets sent in as part of an application, they recognize the name and pull that resume kind of to the top of the pile, which helps you then get your foot in the door so you can interview and show off all your strengths and everything when you're talking to the attorneys. So if they haven't reached out because they've been stressed about school or whatnot, during the holidays would be a great time to email some attorneys and maybe get on the phone with them and just chat about their practice. And you don't have to ask them for a job or anything. In fact, just talk to them about their practice, about the city they live in, about their journey, and establish those connections. So if you haven't had the time to do that, I would take the time during holiday break.